I'm seeking $700,000 for a 10% stake in the company.
And so for that reason, I'm out.
Just don't see the progression, and for that reason, I'm out.
Offer? I'll give you $700,000. I want a 10% royalty. That drops down to 7 after I recoup the $700,000, and I get 5% of the company's equity today. When I say you're dead to me.
Respectfully, Mr. Wonderful, we're going to decline.
He walked onto a television stage asking for money. 5 billionaires told him his life's work was worthless. 5 years later, he did not just prove them wrong. He bought the chair they were sitting in. This is not a story about a doorbell. This is the most brutal power reversal in business television history. Sharks and Titans. The stories they never wanted you to see. His name is Jamie Siminoff. In 2013, he stood under the harsh studio lights holding a plastic prototype. He asked for $700,000. Kevin O'Leary called it a dog. Robert Herjavec said the market was not ready. Mark Cuban saw absolutely zero competitive moat. 5 brutal rejections. 0 offers. A public execution broadcast to millions of viewers. You could see the quiet embarrassment in his eyes. The producers likely thought they had their weekly casualty. How does a man survive being told by the world's top investors that he is building a worthless toy? And more importantly, how does he use that exact televised humiliation to construct a $1.2 billion empire? The sharks made a fatal assumption. They thought they were evaluating a consumer hardware company. Jamie Siminoff was not building hardware. He was building a perimeter surveillance network disguised as a household gadget. The doorbell was just a Trojan horse. The moment the episode aired, his servers crashed, not from a cyber attack, from a massive flood of consumers trying to buy the exact toy the sharks had just thrown in the trash. The television exposure was the only capital he actually needed. Richard Branson immediately understood the architecture. He called the next morning and led a massive funding round. The leverage shifted overnight. Then came the ultimate twist. In 2018, Amazon purchased Ring for over $1 billion. The same Jeff Bezos, who understands data monopolies better than anyone on Earth, saw exactly what the sharks completely missed. Bezos did not just want a doorbell company. He wanted the American front porch. He wanted the delivery mapping data. He wanted to own the last mile of e-commerce. He wanted to tie Amazon logistics directly into the physical security of the home. The sharks were playing checkers. Siminoff and Bezos were playing three-dimensional chess. Siminoff did not just win the game. He changed the rules of the entire industry. The sharks saw a struggling startup. He built an acquisition target. His real buyer was never going to be sitting on that carpet. The sharks operated on legacy retail logic. Bezos operated on ecosystem domination. By 2026, the Shark Tank panel has rotated through dozens of high-net-worth guest stars, billionaires, celebrities, tech moguls. But the Siminoff story remains the absolute benchmark of the entire franchise. Why? Because no guest shark in 2026 can replicate this specific kind of psychological victory, because it permanently exposes the illusion of the room. Shark Tank sells the fantasy that 5 wealthy people in leather chairs hold the absolute keys to the business universe. Siminoff proved that the room is just a television set. The real leverage is not in the room. It is in the algorithm. The real money is made when you stop asking for permission and start building a monopoly. But the revenge did not end with the Amazon check. In 2019, Jamie Siminoff walked back onto the Shark Tank set, not as a desperate contestant, not as a beggar, as a guest shark. He sat in the exact chairs that once judged him. He looked down at the new founders standing on the carpet. The same red carpet where he was publicly humiliated years earlier. The status reversal was absolute. The people who once held the leverage were now sitting next to him, silently relying on his massive success story to keep their own show culturally relevant in a rapidly changing media landscape. The machine that rejected him had to beg him to return, because he had completely outgrown their entire ecosystem. The producers needed his billion-dollar validation more than he ever needed their primetime spotlight. But beneath this flawless Hollywood revenge fantasy lies a much darker, quieter reality. To get that $1.2 billion, Siminoff had to hand the digital keys to every American front porch directly over to Jeff Bezos. He won the financial war, but he surrendered the strategic frontier. The sharks lost a single deal. Amazon won a neighborhood surveillance monopoly. The question is not whether Jamie Siminoff outsmarted the panel. The question is whether ultimate success in the modern tech era simply means building a beautiful, highly valued trap for the biggest predator in the room. A predator who never needs to appear on television to prove his worth. He walked in as a desperate contestant. He returned as a billionaire shark. But in the end, he was just the bait.